Yo, everybody. Hey, welcome to this. I had to make sure over here. I was like, make sure I have everything all hooked up here. There we go. Little cleaning, keeping, whatever. I don't even know how to talk here tonight. So, but hey, everybody, welcome to this Movies Merica spoiler warning episode this Thursday night. Okay, so it's going to be an ungentlemanly episode as we are going over the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare tonight, okay? And I'm not just going to go over it, you're going to go over it as well, because you are going to be able to live chat with me and I with you on Rumble and YouTube and pilled.net, everybody, okay? So that's the word, because I don't want to just talk about this movie by myself. That's creepy, that's disturbing. Yeah, I don't want to be that guy like talking to himself about movies and whatnot. People looking at him like, what's wrong with that guy? Like he's off his meds or something. What? So yeah, don't want to be that guy. But yeah, we're going to get into that here and let everybody know. Let anybody know that you even remotely suspect would be interested in this show. Send them the link. Okay. So if I could talk right tonight, wow. I should have done my vocal exercises, my little. There you go, and do the red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. The vocal exercises that people do. And maybe I could talk right. But anyway, before we get too far into the episode, let me give you something to dance to.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
All right. Yes, I am fired up here. Hopefully you guys are, because it's almost the weekend. It's pre-Friday. It's Thursday night, everybody. And just first off, real quick, before I forget to do this here, I wanted to thank Del, my special guest from last week on the Civil War episode. I want to thank him for being on the show. And check out Del on X under @DelInTheCity_. Okay, check out Del there. And a special treat for next week's show. And I am going to be having Christian Toto on the show. Okay, so if you're into movies or TV at all, you should know who Christian Toto is. Okay, this guy, he's been on the Adam Carolla show. He's been on with Ben Shapiro. He's been on with Dennis Prager. He's like a contributor with PragerU. He's an author. He's been published in a bunch of newspapers and whatnot. So you check Christian Toto out on X and other social media. He's got his podcast out there, Hollywood in Toto. Check out his podcast there on Apple Podcasts and other places right there, just to kind of wet your whistle about Christian Toto before he's my special guest next week, a week from the night. Okay. And I'll tell you what movie I'm going to be going over next week here a little later on. It's what we call a tease. Yes. All right. So let me check the live chat here. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. See if we got any lucky contestants that are in the chat here already. And nope, not quite yet. I expect maybe lower numbers tonight because I don't know how many sports ball fans we have, any NFL, college football fans, but tonight is the NFL draft. Okay, it's round one of the NFL draft. So that's going to be my excuse if I have lower numbers tonight. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it, everybody, okay? All right, so let's get into the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. So one of the biggest takeaways I had from this movie is, to me, this is like the poor man's Inglourious Bastards. The reason I say that is because it doesn't have near the robust, captivating writing and characters that Tarantino had in his World War II movie. Okay, that movie, I even after I left the theater, and I couldn't help but think about it, particularly Christoph Waltz as Hans Landa, of course, and then of course that movie was Tarantino, just out of fantasy, out of wish fulfillment, he was rewriting World War II history, in a very entertaining way for anybody who doesn't love the Nazi Party, right? So, and whereas Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is a true story, so that is a big difference right there. And then this movie, it just didn't have that impact. It just didn't have that slam bang impact. Like it's Quentin Tarantino, man, say what you want about him and his off, off camera, behavior and whatnot. So, I mean, none of us are perfect, right? But say what you will about how he conducts himself in real life sometimes. The guy can write, okay? The guy loves movies, and, if you check out his podcast with him and, what's his face, the guy that his longtime producer, partner, and whatnot. Roger Avery. Check out his podcast. It's pretty good. But you can tell from that he loves movies. They review some of the most obscure movies you've ever seen. You check out just his screenplay of all his movies. Quentin Tarantino has this love, this passion for movies, and he's got this very quick mind. He is able to think up what to most people are complex, deep subject matter and incorporate that into some entertaining screenplays and in record time. And you see that in Inglourious Bastards. But this movie, Ministry here, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, that the writing does not have that. Whoever wrote this, I think Guy Ritchie is like a co-writer, and there's obviously other writers involved with this movie. They just don't have that gift. Okay, they just don't have it. This is a more conventional, by the numbers, World War II actioner. It's based on a true story, like I said. So it's not gonna blow up your skirt, like Inglourious Bastards does. Okay, and you won't ever get confused in this movie because all the characters, they literally telescope everything or telegraph everything that they're going to do. Okay, they are literally like talking to the audience. Well, not directly to the audience, and I'll break the fourth wall, but they're pretty much might as well, because they're just narrating everything that they're doing or going to do in the scene and what the stakes are for the scene there. Particularly you get Eiza Gonzalez's character and Babs' characters in this, and they're just like, well, we have to get this information from this person. Otherwise, if we don't by this time, then this will happen. And if we don't, then this really bad thing will happen. So we have to do this, but we have to do it exactly this way. I mean, and it's kind of like awkward when you listen to what they're doing, because most movies they show, they don't tell, right? Where this movie is kind of like, well, we think our audience is kind of dumb, so we better tell them, and show them right there. So, but that's a couple of the big points that I got from the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare there. So now you will be able to tell here tonight actually that I'm going to be kind of speeding through this episode. I'm going to make this a shorter episode, and I have a really good reason why. And you might be seeing some beads of sweat on me right now, and that leads in or feeds into the reason why my AC is down right now. Okay. And so, I've got the compressors out on it. And so I've had like windows open and doors open and ceiling fans going and that kind of thing. Well, as you would imagine, when you're making a show like this, you can't have a bunch of fans and the doors open and a bunch of noise and all that stuff and the air, on to circulate the air. You can't have that. It's noise, right? That isn't real conducive to a show like this. So I've got that all turned off right now. So I'm probably going to be sweating bullets here sooner rather than later if I'm not already. Okay, so I'm going to speed up this show real quick. And to that end here, what that means is I'm going to get into my tdpn.locals.com promo a little earlier than I normally would right there. And what that's all about is tdpn.locals.com right up there. That is our Till Death Podcast Network website where we have all our content, okay, our videos, blogs, articles, whatnot, all about movies and entertainment and politics and hot button topics of the day, booze, cocktail recipes, music, all of that. And we present it in a way that you're not going to find it anywhere else because, as I was reading all that stuff, I wouldn't blame you for thinking like, well, I know about 51,000 websites that gives me that kind of information already there, Van. What makes yours so special? Hey, you better go there to find out what makes it so special, okay? And right now, you can make 1 month for you special by putting in promo code TDPN and getting 1 month free membership to the website, okay? And so what that membership gives you is like the VIP access to everything on the website, because unless you are a VIP, you don't get to see everything on there. And then after that 1 month, it's just a measly $3, okay? After that, a month, easy money, okay? Not a problem whatsoever. So yeah, get to the website, check it out. You will not be disappointed, everybody. All right. And then also, hey, go ahead and hit the like button down there. All right. Smash that like button. Just clobber it. Okay. And while you're down there clobbering things, clobber that follow button or that subscribe button down there if you haven't already. If you have already, don't click it again because you'll unsubscribe. And then also hit the notification bell down there, so you get that ding, 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 ding whenever there's a brand new episode of Movies Merica ready for you. Okay. And then also, if you're not watching this live, you're watching it later on, hey, get in the comments down below. Get in the comments. Tell me what you think I could improve on. I know it's ludicrous thinking that I could, that I'm less than perfect, but I know it's hard to believe that I could use some improvement. But I could. So let me know what you feel I can improve on, or maybe you think I'm doing everything great and you love it, and let me know what you like about the show. What's your favorite part of it, or hey, a movie that you want me to review. Anything like that, down in the comments. All right, that would be fantastic. I want to hear from you. Okay, so I love the engagement. Yeah, I gotta love it. All right, let's get these guys up here. Let's get Henry Cavill and Eiza Gonzalez and Alan Ritchson and Henry Golding back up there. So for me, this movie would land in the good half of Guy Ritchie's films. Okay, because this was directed by Guy Ritchie. And later on, I'm going to go over my top 5 Guy Ritchie movies, okay? So just kind of tease you about that. But it's one of the films that is closer to what most people think of when they think of a Guy Ritchie movie, okay? Kind of quirky, and all the characters are kind of aloof, and they're, full of machismo, and they're doing like macho shit, And so this movie fits within that book here. I mean, think like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, Rock and Rolla, The Gentleman, those kind of Guy Ritchie movies. And then you have other movies like The Covenant or Wrath of Man that do not fit the Guy Ritchie stereotype, for better or for worse, right there. So, but this movie, it's drenched in British culture, like drenching fish and chips in tartar sauce, okay? And it deals with the British fighting Nazi Germany, as opposed to, some proper gangsters going up against each other, in London or Liverpool or something like that. So it's the British fighting those evil Nazis that also Indiana Jones loves to fight. Well, it's the British. It's not an archaeologist in this case fighting the Nazis in this movie. And then you have Henry Cavill. I think he does a serviceable job in this movie as the leader of this team of British bad boys, and his character's name is Gus March Phillips. And as you know, if you've seen the movie, they had to let him out of military prison in order to lead this team. So he's just this, I guess, the leader of the bad boys in this. But he looks like he's having a good time in it. And then again, you got Alan Ritchson playing this big old Norwegian dude, and you've got Henry Golding. He's in this. He doesn't do much. He was he had a lot more to do in Guy Ritchie's movie The Gentleman, because since he was like the main bad guy in that. You got the smoking hot Eiza Gonzalez in this. As many of you probably know her from Baby Driver, and she was in the not this last Godzilla Kong movie, but the one before that. And she's actually in the new Netflix show Three Body Problem, but I hear she's pretty annoying in that movie there. So, all right. So again, hey, get in the live chat and chat it up here with me about the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. And also, hey, if you want to support me, but you also don't want to spoil the movie for yourself, hey, feel free to, fire up this show, but put it on mute. I know that a lot of people tell me that they'll just, they'll fire up another tab on Google Chrome or whatever their web browser is, and they'll just start the show up and they'll just mute it. And that way they're helping me out with like watch minutes and the algorithm and all that, but they're not spoiling the movie for themselves right there. And I do that too. I do that for other shows on Pilled and Rumble and YouTube just to support them as well. So feel free to do that. Yes. Also, just to remind you, we did have our Bannies Award show recently. And just in case you don't know, the Bannies is the Till Death Podcast Network version of the Oscars, the Grammys, the Golden Globes, the Tonys, all that stuff, but much better. Okay. And so we had that last Saturday night. We did that live. It was a night of, glitz and glamour, but unfortunately you can't catch it live anymore, but you can catch the recording of it. We have the recording of it out on Pilled and X and Rumble, and we have the Sanitize for Your Protection for the wussies on YouTube out there. But if you consider yourself an adult, then check out the unvarnished, the raw version of the Bannies on Rumble and Pilled. I think it's on X as well. But just to kind of give you a little bit of a taste of what was on the Bannies right there. So one of the things that you will see if you do watch the Bannies, I'm just going to give you a little taste right here, okay?
In 2023, he got too high on his own supply. Now he's got to sell, not snort, to be able to feed his 17 cubs. He needs to move weight quickly, and he knows just the customer. A customer who loves to sniff everything in his path. A customer that has taxpayer money to burn on mass quantities of booger sugar. And a son who will also be a loyal customer. This customer has a name, and his name is Joe Blow. Where's the thing? El Presidente? I never touched her. No, Mr. President. I've got those snow globes.
All right, that's all you get, everybody. So that's what they call a tease right there. Yeah, I'm trying to tantalize you into checking out the Bannies right there. But you get that and a whole lot more, and you get to check out all our cool award categories that we had all our winners or had winners for, and had Chad Prathers on there from the Blaze and Drex, and we get all the badasses from the No Prisoners podcast, 451 Actual, Kevin, Feisty Ace. They got the other two dudes, the Titans of the Till Death Podcast Network, Ian and Sean. You probably check them out on the Whiskey Capitalist podcast. They're on there as well. So check out the Bannies. Yes. All right. So like I said before, it's getting really hot. It's getting hot in here. So take off all your clothes. Okay. Hey, don't worry. I'm not going to do that. All right. But I do need to cool down these flames. All right. These flames of love here. And that sounded dirty. And so I can't think of a better way of cooling down the flames, but with the ice cold brew. And so that means it's time for brew review time. All right, everybody. So let me show you tonight's Lucky Brew. And man, look at the sweat on that thing. Yeah. So that's tonight's Lucky Brew is Samuel Adams Porch Rocker here. And I believe this is like one of their seasonal beers. And this is kind of like their version of like a Liney's, like the summer shanty kind of thing where it's beer mixed in with some lemonade right there. But of course, Samuel Adams comes to us from Boston, okay? And yeah, this is sweet and tangy and refreshing. And right from the jump, I should tell you, I'm not getting any money from Samuel Adams, okay? If I was getting money from Samuel Adams, I'd have a much better studio than this behind me. Not to knock my setup, but yeah, I'd be making some major moolah if Samuel Adams was sponsoring this. But they're not, so this is a completely objective opinion. And but in spite of that, I would recommend some Porch Rocker right there. Like I said, it's sweet, it's tangy, it's refreshing, but it's not too sweet. Okay, I hear you guys. You don't want chick beer, right? You don't want your beer to taste like a wine cooler, and it definitely does not. And yeah, so this is pretty good. I mean, it's a perfect beer for like once you get off the riding mower after mowing the lawn on a hot Saturday afternoon or something like that. Grab yourself a Samuel Adams Porch Rocker at 4.5 alcohol by volume. So it's not some piss water like the Bud Light tranny fluid or anything like that. So IBU, it's got an IBU rating, or International Bitterness Unit rating of 8, because yeah, it's kind of sweet and lemonade-y. Is that a word? Well, it is now. It's very lemonade-y. So, but yeah, check it out here. I'm going to take a tug off this thing because yeah, I'm getting hot. Oh yeah, then let me do that. Oh yeah, hot. I'm burning up for you to bring you the show. Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna cancel the show tonight. No. I will cook, and literally, I mean cook over a hot stove for you for Movies Merica spoiler warning. Because you guys mean that much to me. All right, and that has been Brew Review Time. Oh, you thought I was done talking about the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare? Well, not so much, my friends, okay? Or as Lee Corso would say there on the college football show there. And of course, if you don't watch sports ball, you have no idea who Lee Corso is. But you know what? Yeah, not so fast, my friend. Boy, sorry about that. It's a very unclassy beer burp there. Not so fast, my friend. You're not rid of me yet here when it comes to this movie. But some random thoughts I had about this was, we had Til Schweiger, or Til Schweiger, however you pronounce that. He's in this, and he goes from being a Nazi killer in Inglorious Bastards. He played Hugo Stiglitz in Inglorious Bastards. He goes from being a Nazi killer in that movie to being a Nazi stooge in this. Okay, so his name in this is Heinrich Blur, I think is how I'm saying that last name. He's a Nazi. I don't care how we say his name. Okay, and then I thought it was kind of cool here. I thought it was kind of a nice little bonus in this movie is that you have Ian Fleming in this movie. Okay, as a British intelligence officer. And I did know before that Ian Fleming was a British intelligence officer before he wrote all the James Bond books there. But I guess I'd never seen it portrayed in a movie before. So, but I thought that was kind of cool. The kind of the Ian Fleming tie-in to this movie. And as we learned, after the end credits there, or before the end credits rolled, Henry Cavill's character was the influence, was the inspiration for the James Bond character. Ian Fleming apparently saw his exploits and was like, all right, the certain number keeps rolling around in my head. What is that number? 007? Something like that? Well, I sure could go for a martini, shaken but not stirred right now. Getting thirsty. Yeah. All right. So it was kind of inspiration for good old James Bond. So I thought that was kind of interesting here, how that all came together. And then this movie, like I said, it's a true story. This is not Quentin Tarantino, a fictional recount of World War II. This is based on a book by an author by the name of Damian Lewis. Okay, no, not that Damian Lewis, not Damian Lewis from Band of Brothers or Homeland or Billions. Okay, not that Damian Lewis. It's a totally different guy, and it sounds unbelievably that the story and the characters in the book were actually crazier than what we saw on screen. So I know it's just amazing. Usually it's the book or the movie that's crazier than the book right there. But yeah, the story of the book is crazier So yeah, check out the book. The book is of the same name, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare by Damian Lewis there. So, all right. So let me tell you all about one of our newer sponsors of the show here. And that is our Flip City, or not ours, but Flip City Magazine. Okay. And Flip City Magazine is the unwoke equivalent of Mad Magazine and Cracked, and from back in the day. Remember when you used to want to crack up, and you didn't have like TikTok and funny YouTube videos and all that stuff, back in the 70s and the 80s, right? Or the 60s. You grabbed what we called magazines. Okay, so maybe a whole lot of my younger viewers are like, what's a magazine? Okay. Well, you will learn what a magazine is if you get yourself some Flip City Magazine. So yeah, let me play you this enticing video.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
Genuinely cutting, but also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
Oh, yeah. So, all right. So, as you saw right there, if you put in promo code MOVIES after you click on the Flip City link in the description to grab yourself some Flip City, then, you're going to get yourself a real good discount there. So, 10% off your next order, I believe. So, yeah, 10%. I had to bust up my cheat sheet and put it down below. Because my memory sucks. But yeah, you get 10% off your order of the best non-woke comic around. So, and hey, let me prove to you that I read me some Flip City, because I've got some Flip City issues right here. Yes, check that out. There we go. All right, I'm going to get my directions going. Yeah, Flip City right there. It's pretty cool. I like just having them. I mean, I like hard copies of stuff. Okay, I like it going old school. Let me try talking actually into the microphone. That would help. But yeah, I like, tangible things that, something I can read in my hand. That's why I don't do audiobooks all that often and that kind of thing. So, but get yourself some Flip City, everybody. Yes. All right. So what else to say here about the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare? I mean, I thought the action was pretty good. It wasn't quite as bloody as I was expecting. Okay. I mean, it's not like I was thinking that it was going to be bloody like Django Unchained or like Inglourious Bastards. Okay. Where, somebody gets shot. And it's like someone like busted a jar of raspberry jam or strawberry jam everywhere. That kind of thing. Good blood squibs and that kind of thing. Especially like Django Unchained. Oh my God. There's a lot of blood spraying everywhere in that movie. But yeah, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, it's a lot more sanitized. It doesn't have the blood squibs and all that stuff. It's Guy Ritchie, I guess, doesn't really go for the graphic, bloody gunfights or anything like that. He's a little bit more understated and that kind of thing. All right, everybody. So let's do this here. I want to not waste any time and get to my favorite segment of every episode of Movies Merica. Spoiler warning, okay? And that, of course, is the movie military moment, okay? And if you've seen the show before and you've seen the movie Military Moment, you know exactly what it's all about. But just in case we have some new viewers, okay, because I keep hearing that I'm getting more and more new viewers every week here. And so for those fine folks, I shall explain what the movie Military Moment is. So you might be asking, what does the military have to do with movies? Okay, I have no idea. Well, what I do with the movie Military Moment is I like to pay homage to those that have been awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. Okay, and again, of course, at this time you say you still haven't explained, Van. What the hell does that have to do with movies? Well, I shall tell you. All right. So, as you would imagine, what somebody has to do to become the recipient of a Congressional Medal of Honor, all right, it has to be something like mind-blowing, right? Something that makes your eyes pop into your head, all right? Something that you're just like, is this real? Is what I'm seeing, is this real? Oh my God, wow. I mean, a moment where if you saw it on a big old movie screen in front of you, your eyes would be popping out of your head. Remember like that scene in Total Recall, where Arnold's eyes are popping out of his head, all right, on Mars? It'd be just like that, okay? A really cool movie military moment. That's the connection, all right? So I am going to be honoring here a proud recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor, and that is one First Lieutenant Frank, and I sure hope I'm not butchering his middle name, Nicias Mitchell. So I have to make a decision on how I'm going to pronounce his middle name. So I'm going to go with Nicias. So yes, so our movie Military Moment honoree for tonight is one First Lieutenant Frank Nicias Mitchell, who fought in the Korean War. Okay, and a recipient like our First Lieutenant Frank Nicias Mitchell deserves his own music. So here we go. This is the movie Military Moment. And in this movie Military Moment, our proud honoree is one First Lieutenant Frank Nicias Mitchell, who fought for you and me in the Korean War. And let's find out more about First Lieutenant Mitchell, shall we? For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty as a leader of a rifle platoon of Company A in action against enemy aggressor forces, leading his platoon in point position during a patrol by his company through a thickly wooded and snow-covered area in the vicinity of Hansan-ni. First Lieutenant Mitchell acted immediately when the enemy suddenly opened fire at point-blank range, pinning down his forward elements and inflicting numerous casualties in his ranks. Boldly dashing to the front under blistering fire from automatic weapons and small arms, he seized an automatic rifle from one of the wounded men and effectively trained it against the attackers. And when his ammunition was expended, picked up and hurled grenades with deadly accuracy, at the same time directing and encouraging his men and driving the outnumbering enemy from his position. Maneuvering to set up a defense when the enemy furiously counterattacked to the front and left flank, First Lieutenant Mitchell, despite wounds sustained early in the action, reorganized his platoon under the devastating fire and spearheaded a fierce hand-to-hand struggle to repulse the onslaught. Asking for volunteers to assist and searching for and evacuating the wounded, he personally led a party of litter bearers through the hostile lines in growing darkness, and although suffering intense pain from multiple wounds, stormed ahead and waged a single-handed battle against enemy, successfully covering the withdrawal of his men before he was fatally struck down by a burst of small arms fire. Stout-hearted and indomitable in the face of tremendous odds, First Lieutenant Mitchell, by his fortitude, great personal valor, and extraordinary heroism, saved the lives of several Marines and inflicted heavy casualties among the aggressors. His unyielding courage throughout reflects the highest credit upon himself and the U.S. Naval Service. He gallantly gave his life for his country. And we salute you, First Lieutenant Frank Nicias Mitchell, for your service to our country. And we shall never forget your sacrifice there, good sir. And that has been the movie Military Moments. All right, yes. If that doesn't get you fired up, I don't know what will. Okay, so I mean, if that doesn't make you ask yourself, like, what did I do today? Did you face down a bunch of Chinese fighters, in the Korean War around the Chosin Reservoir? I don't think so. I don't think you did that. And you know what? Neither did I. Okay, so all I've been doing around is sitting and drinking this right here. Speaking of which, I'm gonna take a little tug off this bad boy because, man, look at that. Look at that perspiration, that condensation. It's getting hot up in here. Ooh, yeah. All I know is I better get that AC fixed stat, all right? Because I can handle it, but I know my dog is kind of suffering. He's an English bulldog. And as you may have heard, English bulldogs do not handle the heat very well. And, of course, I don't want to be dripping sweat next week when Christian Toto is on the show either, okay? All right, everybody. So let me just remind you that, hey, if you are appreciating enough of what I am doing here, providing you a opportunity to, discuss this movie, live chatting and all that stuff, or warning you off of a movie that is woke, and this movie is not woke. I guess I should probably mention that here. If I'm saying I'm warning you off of woke movies or woke movies, this movie is not woke at all. But if you appreciate, my efforts and me literally sweating to death tonight, enough to where you want to throw me a buck or two, you can do that on Rumble and YouTube and Pilled. And on Rumble, if you do that, it's called a Rumble Rant, and you just have to click on the $ button there down by where you type in your live chat message there on Rumble. On YouTube, it's called a Super Chat. And the way you give me a Super Chat is hitting the dollar bill button down by where you type in your live chat message. And then last but certainly not least, on Pilled, you can give me what's called gold pills, okay? And gold pills in the Pill.net world equate to dólares, pesos, moolah, okay? And so you can do that. So, and you just have to click on the gold pill button there in Pill to give me some gold pills, all right? So, again, only do that if you are so inclined. I'm not putting any pressure or guilt on anybody. I'm not going to be one of those content creators like, if you don't give me money, you're not very classy. I'm doing really hard work here. I'm changing lives. I'm not changing anybody's life, okay? I know my role, and when it comes to saying I change lives, I shut my hole, okay? So, all right, everybody. So let's get into this here. I teased it a little earlier, all right? And I'm going to tell you my top 5 Guy Ritchie movies. Yeah. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging with the top 5 Guy Ritchie movies. I know. You guys were like, oh, man, my day will not be complete unless I hear about what Van's top 5 Guy Ritchie movies are. I can't go through life without knowing. Well, hey, you know what? Your prayers have been answered, everybody, okay? Now, you may not agree with this order, and you may not even agree with the movies. You might be like, hey, you left that obvious Guy Ritchie movie out of your top 5 that definitely should be in there. Don't care. No, I'm kidding. I care. I want to hear from you. This is my list, all right? So, let me know what you think of my list after I get through this. Let me know of a Guy Ritchie movie you felt that I left off of there that you think I should put in there and that kind of thing or whatever. So, all right, but without further ado, let's get right into it. So we're going to start with number 5 and work our way down to numero uno, all right? So number 5 is The Gentleman, yes. So as you see here, it's got Henry Golding over there in the far left, Hugh Grant. You got Charlie Hunnam. You got Colin Farrell, Matthew McConaughey. The chick's name, I forget what her name is, so because she's not near as famous as all the other actors in there. I think she's on like Downton Abbey or some shit. I have no idea right there. But she's basically Matthew McConaughey is not basically. She is Matthew McConaughey's wife in the movie. And yeah, this one is definitely a bigger budgeted, more polished, better cast. Obviously they were able to get guys like Charlie Hunnam and Colin Farrell and Matthew McConaughey, so obviously have a much bigger budget for casting than say Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. It's more of a more rich and robust, higher budgeted version of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I always want to say it 10 Smoking Barrels. It's Two Smoking Barrels. This tells a story like Matthew McConaughey. He's an American that relocated over to England and became a drug dealer over there. And there's a lot to this movie. I mean, I was talking earlier about Inglourious Bastards having some real in-depth and intricate plotting and whatnot. And The Gentleman has that. I mean, it jumps around in time a lot, and you meet a hell of a cast of characters, as you typically do in Guy Ritchie movies. Okay, Guy Ritchie movies are typically not like 1, 2, 3, 4 character movie studies or something like that. No, they're usually it's a cast of not thousands, but pretty damn close when you talk about a Guy Ritchie movie. And hey, we have the Gray Man in the live chat on Pill. Good to see you here. And he's got the man with no name, Clint Eastwood himself. So yeah, a hat tip to you, good sir. Good to see you here on Movies Merica. Spoiler warning. So look up the Gray Man, or he's under TGM on pill.net. Give him a follow, okay? So that's The Gentleman right there. It's I don't know, it's not my number one just because it just has too many contemporary touches to it, and it just had a bunch of stupid, like that whole group that like they're like the rap dance group, but they're drug dealers or something like that. It's just like, what the hell? I mean, like, I just thought that was kind of stupid. I didn't really add anything for the movie or whatever. I did like, Hugh Grant's character is pretty hilarious in that. Colin Farrell's character is pretty hilarious. I mean, the way he looks right there. I mean, that's not typically, like Colin Farrell. He's one of those actors that is humble enough to ugly himself for a role, okay? Because I mean, I'm not gay, but that guy's a pretty man. He's a pretty man, and he could just play like pretty dudes in movies, and whatnot. But he doesn't. He's humble enough, kind of like Christian Bale, okay? They're two good-looking dudes, but they have no problem like putting on weight and getting really skinny for roles and putting on bald wigs and all that stuff, that kind of thing, because they care about their craft. But yeah, The Gentleman, I would check it out. I mean, if, it's in my top 5, so apparently I would suggest checking it out if you haven't already. Now there is a Netflix show, I believe it's on Netflix, show that's based on The Gentleman with, from what I hear, a totally different cast of characters than the movie. But I hear it's pretty damn good. Okay, like Nerd Erotic, Gary, he definitely recommends The Gentleman series on Netflix. So I'm going to make a point to check out that show right there, because if he's recommending it, that's all good in my book. So check out The Gentleman, the movie, and then, hey, check out The Gentleman, the TV series on, I believe, Netflix. All right, number 4 is Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Okay, and this is Guy Ritchie's film debut right here. And this introduced the world to the likes of Jason Statham and Jason Fleming and Dexter Fletcher, Vinnie Jones, all kinds of names and faces that you see and are world famous now, particularly Jason Statham there. So Dexter Fletcher on the far right there, he's more of a director now. So what was that? He directed a recent movie here. I can't remember. Anyway, it's not important. But then you got Vinnie Jones. He's holding the shotguns down there. He's been typecast as playing bad guys in a lot of movies like Swordfish and a bunch of other movies. I think he was in the Midnight Meat Train. He was a bad guy in the Midnight Meat Train. So yeah, he typically plays bad guys. Okay, but Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. That was the introduction of Guy Ritchie's kind of British gangster movies. That introduces you to a big cast of unseemly, very seedy characters, righteous criminals, so to speak, right? So some proper criminals, and just the characters in his gangster movies by themselves. I mean, take the screenplay out of it, just the way they carry themselves. It's enough to keep you locked into the movie. Okay, keep you lock, stock, and totally curious into the movie until the end credits roll right there. But yeah, this is just a bunch of warring gangs and heists and that kind of thing. And this movie is entirely too complicated to describe right there. So the best I can do for you is just recommend checking out Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels if you haven't seen it yet. Now, it came out, the late 90s, so keep that in mind when you watch it. And it's very low budget, and so also keep that in mind. But it's still a great movie. And so as long as you know what you're going into, that this is not some $150 million Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, okay? This is very raw, but very entertaining, okay? And the characters are very compelling. Check out Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. And it's got a great soundtrack, just like most of Guy Ritchie's gangster movies have. All right, so moving on to number 3, Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr., yes, and Jude Law, Rachel McAdams, Mark Strong as the big bad in this first of 2 Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies, okay? And this is one of those movies where we were wondering, hey, I wonder if Robert Downey Jr. nowadays can do anything other than Tony Stark / Iron Man. And Sherlock Holmes proved that, yeah, he can carry off a movie franchise that doesn't have the Marvel logo playing at the beginning of it, right? So, because Robert Downey Jr., way back before he was Tony Stark, he was known for a lot of movies back in the 80s and the 90s and whatnot. So, I remember him like at Back to School and Weird Science and The Pickup Artist and Lesson Zero, all that stuff. So back in the 80s and whatnot, and then he had kind of a troubled life there for a little bit, to put it mildly. And then obviously, he cleaned up his life. All credit to him, and he became the Tony Stark that we all know and love. But could he carry off another movie franchise? Well, Sherlock Holmes solidified that he could. Okay, and this is another great cast. I mean, like I said, like I was reading off before, Jude Law, Rachel McAdams, Mark Strong. Mark Strong's another actor, just like Vinnie Jones, that I guess say mostly plays bad guys. He's because he's so good at it. He can play a bad guy in his sleep. Okay, but Sherlock Holmes is kind of like the most action-packed take on Sherlock Holmes that I've ever seen. Okay, if you want to see the exact opposite, check out the Benedict Cumberbatch series, Sherlock Holmes series on the BBC. That is, it's got action in it, but not near as much as Sherlock Holmes. Or maybe like the old Sherlock Holmes series from back in the 60s, 70s, whenever that was. But Sherlock Holmes, this one is kind of all, Jerry Bruckheimer, Don Simpson out, it's, as if Michael Bay had directed, a Sherlock Holmes movie. But in this case, it's Guy Ritchie directing Sherlock Holmes. And this is a very entertaining movie. Robert Downey Jr. is just whip fast, as Sherlock Holmes. He's a very quick wit. He's hilarious. Hey, and the movie has an English bulldog in it, so that always automatically ups a movie, in my opinion. Any movie has an English bulldog, like I have an English bulldog. Yeah, it shoots it right up to the tippy top, or pretty close to the tippy top. Another good example is Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim has a English bulldog, and a number of other movies have English bulldogs that they get elevated in my mind because they have an English bulldog in it. So, but check out Sherlock Holmes. All right, and then we're gonna move on to number 2. That is Snatch. And yeah, this movie is not as dirty as the title would imply right there. Okay, and this is the gangster movie that Guy Ritchie got because Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels was such a hit. Okay, so he did such a good job with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. And as is custom or typical when a first-time movie director has a surprise low-budget hit, then he gets the big boys calling him up and saying, hey, we want to throw all kinds of Paramount money at you, Universal money at you, Warner Brothers movie money at you. Here you go. And so Guy Ritchie had the old armored truck backed up into his driveway. Beep, 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 and they said, hey, we're going to give you all kinds of money to make your next British gangsta flick. Or, they might have said, hey, you can make whatever movie you want. And so Snatch is the bigger budgeted Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Okay. Now it's got different characters and different plots and all that stuff. So, but it's that quintessential, hey, we liked your first low budget movie. It was a surprise hit. Man, you're a fresh face on the scene. Hey, here's a bunch of money. Okay. And, he did not waste it. Okay. Snatch is a great movie, great plot, very interesting characters in this. Particularly Brad Pitt. Okay, I mean, this movie has a bigger budget when you get Brad Pitt coming in here and basically playing he's not the star of the show. I mean, he basically just blends in with the crowd, and he's definitely not a very flattering character to Brad Pitt. I mean, he can't understand a word he's saying. He's like, Joe Biden, basically. And, if Joe Biden was this, Cockney boxer in this British gangster movie. Okay. So, but at least, Brad Pitt's character in this has a warm character and an endearing character, personality that you would actually root for. Not so much with President Vegetable. Okay. But then you see right there from the graphic, you get Benicio del Toro, Vinnie Jones, the late, great Dennis Farina. I forget if that's Biggie Smalls right there. If it's not, it sure looks like Biggie Smalls right there. And then of course you've got Jason Statham there on the far right. And this is it's a tense movie at sometimes. It gets very serious. It's some unexpected places, and Brad Pitt goes full wrath mode, towards the end. And it's got a great soundtrack too. So what's that? I forget the name of the band that does it, but that Golden Brown song. Just look up Golden Brown, on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. And Golden Brown's a great jam. And so, but this movie's filled with all kinds of great songs like Golden Brown. And so, Snatch, great movie. This one came out in like 2000. This is great. Benicio del Toro. There on the far left. 2000 was a really great year for Benicio del Toro because he was in Snatch, and then he won a Best Supporting Actor for being in Traffic, the movie Traffic, not being in traffic on a highway. So he didn't get hit by a bus or anything like that. So, but no, he was in the movie Traffic. Okay, and I think he won a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for Traffic, and that was in 2000, just like Snatch was in 2000. So check out Snatch. Check it out. Now, I would probably put subtitles on because, there's a lot of British slang in this movie, just like with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Get the subtitles on so you can understand what the fuck they're saying, okay? So, all right, so moving on to numero uno, but first, a drink, all right? So here we go. Bear with me, folks. There we go. Like a nesty plunge right there. All right. So, numero uno on my top 5 Guy Ritchie movies list is Wrath of Man. Yes, Jason Statham. All right, he was in the OG. He was in the original, the very first Guy Ritchie movie, and he has been in numerous amounts of Guy Ritchie movies. And Wrath of Man is one of the later movies that he's been in that Guy Ritchie directed. And this movie for me came from out of nowhere. Okay. I thought this was just going to be like some stupid, like totally turn off your brain, grab yourself the most white trash food you could eat and just settle into your crappy old lazy boy and just ghetto it out. Okay. That kind of like cheap, chintzy, kind of kitschy Jason Statham, pardon me, stupid, brainless action movie. Okay. That's what I thought this movie was going to be. Another one of those. Just think like, what's the one where he's basically got to keep his heart going? whatnot. Crank, that's it. The Crank movies, something stupid like that, like those movies right there. Wrath of Man is not that whatsoever. Okay, Wrath of Man is kind of a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. Okay, and much more serious, with much higher stakes than I thought, and the characters are more in depth and fleshed out, and they seem more real. They're not cartoony, and the action, my God, the action in this movie, it's just so visceral. It's just so kinetic. It's so frenetic, and it does do like time jumps and all that stuff, but in a very entertaining way, a way that enhances the movie. And Jason Statham's character in this is such a badass. Okay, he is just hardcore in this movie. It's a great story, and it's the supporting characters in this. It really helps you get to know them, and really helps you get to know their motivations. And you don't really outright root for them, but you kind of understand, hey, why they're doing what they're doing. You don't agree with it, you don't condone it, but that's the kind of depth this movie goes into. It gets intricate, but in a good way, not in a way where you're pulling your hair out because you're trying to figure out the plot, your brain is swelling and whatnot. Nothing like that. But hey, we got Agent X6 up in the live chat on pill.net. Good to see you there, Agent X6. Welcome. And he's putting on some serious stickers up there. I see he's got Jason Statham up there, right there. So I'm guessing, I can't remember, that's maybe the Operation Fortune sticker there with him, or the Beekeeper. The Beekeeper is a great movie too. I think Jason Statham's most recent movie that he's been in, The Beekeeper, from earlier this year. Check out my Beekeeper review from earlier this year. So, yeah, Jason Statham is fantastic in this movie. He really sells that he is a loving father. Maybe he's a loving father, but maybe not there for his son as much as he should be. Okay, and he's not there in a pivotal moment. Okay, but the action isn't cartoony. It's not fluffy. There's actual stakes. It's brutal, and it's just slam bang action. And so it's not at all what most probably would expect from this movie. Now, don't let the poster here dissuade you from watching the movie. I get it. It's kind of a boring poster. There's no explosions or helicopters. It's just Jason Statham, looking very, very thoughtful, very contemplative, looking down at the ground like he's looking down at some gum on the floor of a movie theater going, who the hell left that there? What the hell? Who does that nowadays? It's kind of looking down at something, right? It's not a very exciting poster, okay? But the movie is much more exciting than this graphic right there. But yeah, check out Wrath of Man. It's fantastic. That's my number one. It's so good. It's my number one Guy Ritchie movie, okay? And Agent of Six says, Statham has been in some pretty good movies over the years. Hell yeah, he is. I mean, I'm thinking back to like The Italian Job, great movie. His supporting role in the movie A Spy with Melissa McCarthy and Jude Law. They're the comedy from Paul Feig or Feig. I've never settled on how you pronounce Paul Feig's or Paul Feig's last name. But yeah, he was a comedic parody of himself in his movies right there in the movie Spy. Lots of great movies that he's been. Some of his Transporter movies are fantastic. So, but yeah, that has been my top 5 Guy Ritchie movies. I know you're just so excited about my list, and I'm sure everyone totally agrees. And of course, if you're not watching this live, you're watching the recording of this later on. Yeah, down in the comments, let me know what you think of my list. Do you think I'm smoking crack? Are you like, oh my God, this guy is so on point with his choices of the top 5 Guy Ritchie movies? Let me know, everybody. Yes. All right, so man, I've got Agent X6 and the Gray Man just kicking ass and taking names in the live chat. All right. So before I was, teasing you about the Bannies, all right, trying to get you guys to watch the Bannies if you haven't watched the Bannies. Again, like I said, the Bannies were live last Saturday night on 420, but you missed watching them live, but you didn't miss watching them. Okay, they are all out of the Bannies, our award show for the Till Death Podcast Network. It's available on Rumble and Pilled and X. Okay. And again, it's our award show, but it's much better than the Oscars and the Tonys. But just to give you a little taste of some of the content that is on the Bannies, all right, that you can check out. Let me tease you with a little bit of a commercial from the Bannies.
Yeah, I'm married. Does that matter? You do that for me? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from Steak Farm.
Jake from Steak Farm at 3 a.m. Who is this?
It's Jake from Steak Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from Steak Farm?
A pink, gold, and red sequin dress with fishnet stockings and a feather boa and a blue spiked butt plug?
What?
I mean, khakis.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so...
Excuse me? What did your husband just say?
He said you're a guy.
Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, no, he didn't. I know your man didn't just misgender me. Human rights violation. Human rights violation.
All right, that's all you get. So if you want to see the rest of that commercial right there for Steak Farm, then yeah, check out the Bannies. Just look up the Bannies on Rumble or X or Pilled. There's the sanitized for the wussies version on YouTube. We blurb out the scary swear words and stuff. Okay, but hey, if you have to check it out, that way, then yeah, you can check it on YouTube. But so check that out. And then if you go to like the Till Death Podcast or the Till Death Podcast Network, like X account, I'm sure you can find links, or my Movies Merica X account. You can find the Bannies links there as well. All right, so let me check out this little sand I just got in my eye. Hate when that happens. All right, so all right, and, yeah, the gray man says that he's here listening, just busy. Yeah, I bet you are, man. I tell you, working harder, not smart, working smarter, not harder. I'm sure. So. And he's like, it's ma'am. Yeah, you definitely got to check out the Bannies and check out the rest of that commercial if you haven't seen that commercial in the Bannies already. Okay, so check that out. All right. So I told you earlier that I was going to let you know what movie I will be reviewing this week. So that means this Sunday, I will have a spoiler-free review of this movie, and then next Thursday's Movies Merica spoiler warning will be the spoiler-filled show about this movie. Well, the movie is going to be a retro movie, an old movie called. The movie is True Lies. Okay, so yes, I was like, a movie called True Lies, like it's some unfamiliar movie. So yes, I am going to be reviewing True Lies. Okay, the James Cameron, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis, the late great Bill Paxton in it. Okay, I'm reviewing that because one, it's a very slow new movie weekend. Okay, I know Challengers is coming out, but who the fuck wants to see a review for the Challengers on Movies Merica? Spoiler warning. Hell no. Okay, but no. So and then also I just got True Lies on 4K, and so that gives me an excuse to watch it. There, not that I wasn't going to watch it anyway. So, so True Lies, the Arnold Schwarzenegger classic spy movie, will be the movie for next week. And again, like I said, special guest on Movies Merica spoiler warning a week from tonight. Everybody, Christian Toto. You've seen Christian Toto on the Ben Shapiro Show. He's been on the Adam Carolla podcast. He's been on with the Dennis Prager Show, and he's a contributor on with PragerU. He's an author. Okay, he's got his podcast called Hollywood in Toto. Check that out. He's been on He's been on Friday Night Tights. You know, if you're like me and you're a big Friday Night Tights, Tuesday night's main event, you know, you're a fan of the Fellowship and the 199 and all that stuff. You know, if you're a fan of that crew and you love Friday Night Tights, he's been on Friday Night Tights right there. So, yeah, Christian Toto will be on this very show next week. Okay, so don't hesitate to check that out. And you can check out Christian Toto on X there as well. So, all right, let's check out, make sure I haven't forgotten anything here. All right, now I think we're good to go. All right, so what I'm going to do here now is actually I'm going to release the scratching. Yeah, and if you're on Pilled, you know what I mean by releasing the scratching, okay? What that means is, in case you don't know, like I said before, on Pilled, they have these things called gold pills, okay? And gold pills equate to money, to moolah. And if you happen to be in the live chat right now on Pilled, then when I release the scratching, it's going to drop a bunch of gold pills from the sky, okay, from heaven, like manna from heaven. It's going to drop on, in this case, the Gray Man and Agent X6 right there, if they're both still in there. So, all right, so without further ado, let's get this scratch and release party going. And it has been released. Yes, get yourself some gold pills, everybody, there in the pilled.net live chat. Enjoy. There you go. You guys deserve it for being here and not just watching the show, but live chatting. Okay, so, but I mean, I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys are just watching live right now and you're not live chatting, or you just aren't able to live chat, I appreciate you guys. But the ones that are able to live chat, and they do, whether it's on Pilled or YouTube or Rumble, I appreciate that big time right there. Okay, so, all right. And then also I want to shout out the No Prisoners podcast show on Pilled.net. Okay, check out the No Prisoners podcast. Check out Dark Side Radio on Rumble. And then we got Woke Societies is another great show on Pilled.net. Unfolding Joker, my man Unfolding Joker. I don't know where you at, Unfolding Joker. I don't know where you're at tonight there, but check out Unfolding Joker all the same on Gab. Okay, so he's a great fan of the show. And then check out the show We Are the Show with Dean on Rumble. Okay, so check that out. Check those guys out there. So, all right, so let me tantalize you with some other locations, some other spots that you should check out. And the first one is moviesmerica.com. And why would you want to go there? Well, if you want to check out the audio-only versions of my spoiler-free reviews that I do on Sunday afternoons, you can go to moviesmerica.com and check them out there. Also, there's a link there to our merch store. And but also, if you want to, other places you can check out the audio-only or the podcast versions of my spoiler-free reviews called Movies America Live. You can go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the places that you would imagine you can find podcasts, and just look up Movies America on those fine podcast sources right there. And then if you happen to check me out on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, yeah, feel free to give me a 5-star rating, and then also follow the show. Like an Apple Podcast, if you check me out there, I think you hit the ellipsis up at the very top, the 3 dots, and you can choose to follow the show there. That would be fantastic, all right? But just to warn you, I would personally recommend watching the show because the audio-only versions, full disclosure, I don't get those out near as often or near as fast as I should, okay? The old procrastination bug hits me pretty hard. And so I do those shows live on Sunday, and usually I don't get those shows out, the audio-only versions of those shows out until Thursday. So, yeah, I really procrastinate. All right, and then check me out on X and Instagram. Boy, we get a little tug off this bad boy. All right, there we go. So, yeah, check me out on social media on X and Instagram and Gab under @MoviesMerica. I'm also on Rumble under Movies America. Now, you might see multiple Movies America on Rumble. Mine is the one with a shitload of videos on it, okay? The other one is like doesn't really have anything on it. And then, Pilled. Check me out. Check me out under Movies Merica on Pilled. And hey, if you DM me and let me know that you followed me, I'll follow you back, man. Hell yeah. All right. Oh, also, I'm on Facebook under Movies Merica as well, if you're on Facebook. So, and then on X, I put out content on their little posts and all that stuff. And yeah, check out my posts out there. Like them if you like them. Comment, reply on my posts. I love to hear from everybody. I love to hear from everybody, and I try to reply back. I try not to be one of those people that gets a bunch of replies and doesn't reply back. Now eventually, there's usually a lot of people that do that. They're really big and they just don't have the time to get so many replies, so it's not even feasible to do that. Me, I am not so big to where I can't reply back. Okay, so not at all. Okay, so all right, and then tdpn.locals.com. I'm not going to go into that too much because I just talked about it up above or earlier, but that's the tdpn.locals.com up above there, our Till Death Podcast Network website. All right, it's getting hotter and hotter in here. All right, and we have our merch store, the merch store link down below in the description. Check out the merch store to get all kinds of Movies Merica merch, like Movies Merica t-shirts, phone cases, shot glasses. Hell, you get yourself some Movies Merica yoga pants, okay? All that stuff. So, all right. And then check out @Till Death Network, solo.to/Till Death Pod Network, okay? And that's where you go to find all the links that have anything to do with the Till Death Podcast Network, all right? And then we have solo.to/Till Death Studios. And that's where you would want to go if you are a content creator or you're looking to get into the content creation game like me. Okay, here, this is considered content creation here, okay? Or you have a show or something like that. And so you want to enhance your show with like cool shit like this background here or the intros that you saw at the beginning of the show. Go to solo.to/Till Death Studios, and my man Ian will hook you up with his mad skills that he uses to pay the bills. Okay, so check that out. And then we have solo.to/I'm Sean Cav, and that's where you can find all the links that have to do with Sean Cav, who's a big titan of the Till Death Podcast Network, like me. You primarily see him on the Whiskey Capitalist podcast show that's on every Monday and Wednesday night, and then every other Tuesday night. And he's got all kinds of great content that you can find at solo.to/I'm Sean Cav. And then solo.to/The Whiskey Capitalist. That's your one-stop shop for all the links that have to do with the aforementioned The Whiskey Capitalist podcast show there with Ian and Sean. So don't hesitate to go there. And last but certainly not least, solo.to/Till Death Podcast. And that's the one-stop shop for all the links that have to do with the flagship show of the Till Death Podcast Network, the show that started it all. That's the show with Ian and his lovely wife, Jen, doing their show from the marital perspective, okay? If you want your news and your entertainment and your funnies, marinated in their marital mirth. It sounded dirty and gross. All right, retract that. If you want to check them out and giving you the latest and greatest news stories and the funnies and all that stuff from the wedded perspective, then check out the Till Death Podcast every other Saturday afternoon. Okay, but check out the solo.to/Till Death Podcast site there for easy access to the links that get you to the latest episodes and all their past episodes as well. So check that out, everybody. Yes, all right. So, well, we're getting to about that time, everybody, okay, because it's time to cool down, all right? But first here, I always have to let you guys know that you guys need to get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya. Hey, everybody! Hey! I got the police after me. They're coming after me, okay? But I got just enough time to ask you. Just like this video, if you would, and then subscribe to this channel, okay? I'm gonna be in handcuffs pretty soon. I gotta tell you. Hey, so before they haul me off, make sure you watch these videos over here, okay? And thanks for watching this video and the Till Death Podcast Network, okay? I gotta go.